soup because I keep popping out of it anyway. When I was a kid, like a lot of kids, one of my favorite things was to watch cartoons. And all I really wanted on an afternoon was to have, you know, like 1 to 6 hours of uninterrupted cartoon watching time. But growing up, my dad was really strict. And if we had time to watch cartoons, we had time to be doing a lot of other things. So, like any good Filipino kid, when my dad laid down the law, I got sneaky. And I would go up to the TV room and plop down on the couch and close the door and make sure that he was somewhere else, usually outside, working on the car or building something or in the garden. And I would just hope and pray that I wouldn't hear, "Lester!" He wants something, right? So I was like, okay, if he called me once, I can pretend I didn't hear it. Maybe he'll figure it out on his own. He won't need me again. "Lester!" That was call number 2. Again, maybe I can say I was in the bathroom. I can play it off and just keep on watching TV. "Lester!" Okay, that was when I knew I was in trouble because he put the emphasis on the first syllable of my name. So I hopped up from the couch, turned off the TV, and I go running down the hall, and I go running down the stairs, and I run out to the backyard. Oh no, he's not there. Go running to the front yard, and all the while he's counting. Okay, he's got the count going on. 1, 2. I don't know how high he was supposed to get, but if I wasn't there by 3, I could just forget about it. So I ran there as fast as I could. I'm like, "I'm here, Dad, I'm here, what do you need?" He said, "When I call you, you come right away. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir, I understand. What do you need, Dad? Anything you need, I'll take care of it right now." "Hold this." "What?" It didn't matter what it was a screwdriver, it was instructions, whatever. "Hold this." "Okay, Dad." I take it from him. 5 minutes go by. 10 minutes go by. "Dad, I'm just going to put this down over here." "I said hold it!" "Hold it. I'll hold it." Looking back on that, I realized that, you know, he didn't really need my help. My dad was a very capable man. But he just wanted me to be there for him. Flash forward 30-some years, and my dad passes away. And my mother says to me, "You have to give the eulogy."
Eulogy.
Okay, Mom, first of all, it's a eulogy. And second of all, for the past 103 days, I've sort of watched this process. I've been there by his side, and I've got way too many emotions to make it through this. But a few days after my dad passed, I realized, after I told my mom that I couldn't give the eulogy, it was really my dad asking me to be there for him one last time. So here I am. We've heard a lot of stories about the things my dad did. His kindness, his generosity, his devotion. And I spent a lot of time thinking about who my dad was and trying to figure out why it was he did these things. And I realized my dad is probably one of the greatest optimists I've ever met. He believed that this world could be a better place. He believed that he could be a better man. He believed in each and every one of you that you could be better people. That's why he supported me. He supported my mom. He supported each and every one of us. Because he believed that he could help make us all better. Which is remarkable if you consider his background. Coming from a dirt poor family in Manila with so many kids that it was impossible to feed all of them every day, 3 times a day. But he knew that if he worked hard enough, he could find a better way. And so he joined the Navy. He got out of the Philippines, came to the States, worked hard, night and day, and sent money back home to his family to help them. A lot of people have been telling me over the past few days, weeks, that I'm a good son. That I have done the right thing, I've done my duty as a son to take care of my father and to stand by my mother. And I'll tell you now, it really wasn't a matter of duty or doing what was right. I was really just copying my dad. Because he did that for his coworkers. He did that for my brother when he passed away. And I knew that my dad would do the same thing for me if the situation were reversed. So I'll take the compliment that I'm a good son, if by that you mean I'm following the example that my father had set. Someone had mentioned that he was a man of action, and this is true. My cousin had mentioned that the only time he ever sat still was when he was watching golf, which was, what, a couple hours a week. Otherwise, he was in the community, he was in other people's homes, he was in the church, working to make the world a better place. My dad also was not afraid to admit that he was wrong. He was a very proud man, to be sure, but he never shied away from questioning whether what he was doing was right, and he would always check himself. This wasn't always the case. When we were growing up as kids, my brother and I were actually scared of my father. He was a very strict disciplinarian, probably a product of his upbringing. And when I was probably around 10 or 11, I realized that he was bringing a lot of his work stress home. We respected him, but he was a distant father at that time. And one day I finally got the courage to look him in the eye and tell him that I didn't really like being at home and that he scared me. And instead of insisting that he was right, he actually took a step back and he examined himself and realized, you know what, my son is right. And I don't know how many fathers actually do that, but my dad did. And he didn't stop doing that because he believed that he could be a better person, that he could always improve himself, not only improve other lives, but his own life, and in that respect, improve our lives at the same time. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that from my father. Sorry. My cousin Edith in the Philippines relayed a story to me, a conversation she had with my dad. And she said, "Uncle Tito, how come you don't make Lester live at home? We come from a tradition where family ties are so important. Why don't you just make him live at home?" And my dad said he needs to be his own man. He needs to find his own way. He needs to grow. And it was at that point I realized that, for as much action as my dad took, as much conviction as he had in his principles, he would never force them on me. He would guide me, but he wouldn't force me to follow him. And from that I learned that sometimes the best action is to not take action. My dad was a wise man, and again, I'm very appreciative of that. So we're here, and we've told a lot of stories, and we're here to remember my dad and celebrate his life. And I'm going to ask you guys to take a moment and understand my request that I think the best way to celebrate his life is to also be an optimist. Believe in a better world. Believe in a better you. Believe in a better community. Don't take action for recognition. Don't strive to hold power over other people. Be like my dad. He helped people quietly and humbly. He served those around him. And for that, I will always remember him and try to be the good son.
a